Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium healer, numerologist, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether it's through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there's always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, and welcome to the Psychic Hour on WLTK-DB. Let's Talk Radio. Hello. Today is our reading show, and so in about 10-15 minutes, we'll be going into readings, and so you can pop down your birth date for your numbers. Hello, Jessica. Great to see you. You can pop down your questions, whether they are, again, psychic mediumship development questions or questions about your life that you want a card read for, or a numerology reading regarding, like a mini one. That's what we're here for. And it's just a fun way to interact. It's a fun way to I love it. I just love it. It's just an expression of a gift that I look to always grow, work with, interact with, and it's like a no-brainer for me to just come on and share and be with something that makes me so happy. So the thing that I want to talk about, it's not a thing. It's a beautiful concept that I want to talk about. Hello, Kevin. Great to see you. Is the energy of miracles. And for me, it's a very real thing, miracles. And I don't know what everyone else's perception of miracles are, but a miracle can be anything, like as long as it just opens up energy when energy is just closed. That's how I feel it. That's how I see it. I've probably talked about it before, like, growing up, if all of a sudden I didn't have a pen or a pencil on me, I would like pray while I'm walking in the halls. Let me just find a discarded pen or pencil so I can have something to write with. I don't know where all my pens and pencils went, but all of a sudden, in the most random place, I would see a pen or a pencil, right? And it's just like, that interconnectedness. And people tune into, I think, that energy of miracles when they're looking for signs with spirit, because they're just like, please give me a sign. Please, please show my grandma or my mother is still thinking of me, or my father is still with me. And, there are those moments where you're just like, oh my goodness. And you see that bird or that feather or that coin. And there is that like symbol that connects you to your loved one. And honestly, I think that is the energy of miracles as well. It transcends what we believe is possible. And that's the essence of miracles for me. Like when I'm doing Reiki or chakra balancing, the healing work, if I feel that energy is really blocked, or if there's difficulty, because sometimes there is difficulty moving energy, right? Because that's what healing is, creating expansion, so there is more choice, creating expansion so there is more room, so there is more options to be had. When we are constricted, and these are very philosophical but energy principles that are real. When we are stressed, we are constricted. When life has had happened to us, and think about, some of your greatest fears or your greatest pains, like we roll up in a ball, and our energy does that too as well. And we don't have a lot of choices in that moment, because all we're feeling is that pain or that sadness or that scaredness, or I don't know what to do, right? I don't know what else to do. But in the energy of healing, we give ourselves choice, we give ourselves expansion, we give ourselves freedom. So that's to me, that's what the energy is. You're breaking up that density for your energy to be free. Okay. And sometimes there is so much density that it is difficult. And so the energy of miracles really comes into play, the energy of belief and faith and asking for help greater than yourself. Because what happens is you go, I don't want to play by the rules of what logically make sense. I don't want to play by the rules of what I've been told. I want to play by the rules of the universe because there are truths and there's brilliance there that I don't even know about. I want to tap into that and I want that guiding me. I want that steering the ship. I don't want my human brain steering the ship of how I'm going to work through this thought, this difficulty, or like this healing energy that I'm trying to bridge that I don't know what's going to happen, right? So you ask spirit to lead the ship and, to lead the intention. And it's you never know what's going to happen, but it's usually something like amazing, right? You're like, oh, I didn't see that. Or within the energy of miracles, what happens is you have to meet that energy with complete faith and trust. So my favorite way to do it, and I've heard other people talking about this too. And in fact, I was listening to a talk with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Great guy. Highly recommend you check out his material. He deals a lot with psychology and the mind and what's possible, but he does like very much how the human brain and the human consciousness can transform itself. So he's a very, very interesting person to listen to, um, and talk with, I'm sure, right? But he was talking about this energy and a way where you have to let your old self go. You have to like literally let all your old beliefs go, and it could be just for a moment. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I'm a new person. Just for a moment, you have to let all your old beliefs go and transform into this new understanding of, I'm just going to accept that this is possible because the old me could never accept that this is possible. And then what he started talking about is really exactly in the same philosophy that I feel for the energy of miracles. It was about already giving thanks, already receiving the energy before you have it, because time and space, it's a trippy thing when you come into quantum physics. All right. And quantum physics, that is verifiable, but time and space is truly irrelevant. So if you give thanks to what which you have not received and you go, thank you so much, thank you so much, my reading went well. Thank you so much. I had just enough money to get by this year. Thank you so much. I got that promotion. I trust and I believed and I knew it was coming in some way, somehow, right? You get into the vibration that you already received it. And the miracle sets itself up to find a way because you believe that you've already done it. If you truly believe there's different steps of faith, right? Like as we're saying these things, do we truly believe it? Do we truly have 100% faith? Are they just words? Are we feeling it through? Yes. But the more and more you do that, the more and more you start to believe and you feel and because you start to experience results. And so anything that I know, because fear gets in the way, fear or doubt or confusion, because sometimes we just can't figure stuff out. But if you know that it's possible, you completely just give thanks to that which has not come yet. And it's amazing because the way just opens up, because I want to give that to you on a level 2, just a basic level. If you are so concerned with I can't do this, I'm not sure, and you're really tallying up really factual events, and let's say your experience level is not what you want it to be, or the environment, you're just like, I just know that this is not going to be easy, right? And that's fine, but there might be that one sliver of hope. There might be that one person, right? In a crowd of 20, there might be that one situation where opportunity opens itself up. And I promise you, they're happening all day long. Um, and our minds, our consciousness, our spirit just has to grab onto that lifeline. And a lot of times it's right in front of us and we wouldn't even know. And so think about all the times in your life where you're just like, wow, if I only knew that, or wow, like just even people like, wow, like you lived down the street from me at that time. And if not that we're always ready, not that always the time is right, because I do believe there's an element of that. But when you go into miracles, it doesn't handle the laws of time. It transcends it. It will speed you up or it will get you to where you need to go. So when you go into miracles, when you go into spirit, suddenly it doesn't matter if you're not ready. Suddenly it doesn't matter if you didn't see it coming or you couldn't have predicted it. It doesn't matter. It's just there, and it's an invitation. And usually there's so much grace behind the way that it circulates and comes from, that people usually have this air of, okay, let's just let this happen. Around you and around others, there's an air of this intrinsic, okay, yeah, something about this feels right, so let's just go with it. And people don't think too hard about it. But just for my experience with energy healing, I'm going back to that. So when there's this particular difficulty, I go, thank you for thank you, for this gift for so and so, because I don't concern myself what the gift is for them. I know that spirit and the healing energy will come in exactly how it's needed for that person. And I just go, thank you for the gift. The gift has already been received. I'm so grateful. We are so grateful for the gift. And I say this in my head as I'm generating the energy, like, thank you. We are receiving the gift. And I activate the now of we have received, like it has already happened. We have received the gift and we are in the gift. And thank you. And all of a sudden, you know, it it sometimes the mind concerns itself with, in what way is this working now, right? And that's okay to a certain extent, I really do believe. But I can undoubtedly feel the energy lifting up and opening up. And so it could just be the healing of my mind, and that was the gift needed to cross the bridge as the facilitator of the energy. It could have been the gift of the an area of the body opening up. And I don't concern myself with that. I just know all of a sudden the energy opens up and we're able to go forward, and the session is able to just light years ahead of what could have happened if I just do some practical principles and don't ask for help and don't put my faith and my belief into what I'm doing. And so I always have experienced when I go, hey, I need help, just come to me. Things do come to me. Sometimes it doesn't come as expected. Sometimes you think, hey, I need help. And you ask for, let's say, something, right? And your day happens and you go, well, that's okay. Maybe next time, right? But then something an hour later happens and it fulfills that, or something 5 hours later happens, or something 3 days later happens. And so I really am the firm believer of it's all answered. It's all answered. As long as you let go of control, as long as you let go of your desire. That sounds funny, but it's true. You can acknowledge your desire, but your desire is linked to something deeper and truer of the needs of the soul and the needs of the moment. And so if you can let go of your own want and desire and go, hey, there's something very important within this. Can I please have help? And if it furthers you, if it furthers other people, life and spirit and miracles have a funny way of being very active and very helpful in that category. And I find that there's tremendous success. It's really great. I could talk about a lot of stories, little things and big things. I always have fun with it. Okay, so we're going to be going into readings. Absolutely know this to be true. Absolutely. And that's Mary, right? Tell me if I got that right. I have to be better with remembering names. I used to be amazing with remembering names. And then, life, our brain changes a little bit. And so I'm trying to get back the energy of being really good with names. Thank you so much. As a kid, we had a big city that I lived in. It was quaint at the same time, but it's actually a quite big city compared to other cities in Illinois. And, we had like 1,000 people in our elementary school, for sure, for sure. And I literally like knew everyone's name. If I met them once, I knew your name. I knew all the teachers' names. Like I would like make games of how I knew everyone's names. I would know people's phone numbers, people's birth dates. I would just go, let's see if I can remember this. And I'd have so much fun and joy with it. And so maybe I need to stimulate that again, right? There's always avenues to these wonderful abilities that we have within ourselves. So I'm pretty good normally. So I'm going to utilize the energy of miracles and say I'm very good at embracing knowing names. I am excellent, and this is something I'm good at. Do you see how I'm just embracing it? And I don't know if you saw that, but as I was saying that, there was hesitation in my voice, and I actually had to think about it. My brain was like, "What?" And you will feel that within your body, and in your mind, your body will almost reject it as you're saying it, or your feelings. It doesn't feel real, or it doesn't feel natural, right? Saying it. So I that was fine tuned, but maybe some of you could see the hesitation. I was like, I'm good with names, but I am. And so, and that's, oh, I have to say it. And then we're going into readings. This actually is very important to talk about because, so I work a lot with like clairvoyance, and I can tap into people's auras, and I can see a lot of colors with people, especially if I go, okay, like I'm going to look at the colors, sometimes it hits me across the face, and sometimes I go, okay, I'm going to intend to look for colors. And originally I wasn't able to do that, but I actually said to myself, I've been thinking about this, I've been considering this is something that's been in my life, but I've never had the experience. And I go, I have to commit 100% that I can see auras. I have to commit 100% that I can see colors and I can see energy. And as soon as I started to do that, it was like, I'm telling you, within a couple of days, because I had so many experiences up to that point where I'm just like, I know this is possible. I'm just welcoming it into my life. I didn't have the consistency where I was experiencing that, but I had a couple experiences, right? Where I go, this is real. If this is real, should be something that can be tapped into all the time. Okay. Right. And just think about it. Same thing with spirit. Not that you should be tapping into that all the time. Like that's, we have to live our lives, but like mediums, like we can see spirit and we can interact with spirit, but we're not seeing them all day long. Right. But it's possible. And some people have spirit within them so strongly of what their energy is able to see and sense that sometimes it can be like that for some people, right? So I was like that with color. I was just like, this actually should be possible with what I have been experiencing. And sure enough, within a couple days, I started it sounds funny, but it's not quite that I figured it out, but a part of it was figuring out my blockage of why I couldn't see it before. I unlocked that, but it was through, you know what? I just believe I can see it. I just believe it's real. And so if I see something, I'm going to accept it and be curious. I'm not going to go around and tell people I can see colors, and I'm not going to go around and tell people like I can do this, I can do. No, I'm just going to, if I see something, I'm going to be very curious and open as I was, but I'm going to do so even more so where I go, I'm experiencing this. I'm seeing this is real in my consciousness. So let's explore this. This is real within my consciousness. Let me open this up and let me have a belief in this, that this is real. Let me give myself that, because I was very logical, very analytical with it. So I opened myself up to that place, and I had full belief that spirit was guiding the process too. And sure enough, I started having the most amazing experiences with color, with energy, and so much so that I've really built that behind what I teach. And it's really, at this point, my strongest sense. Like my scene was not initially my strongest sense, but it became so because I had so many experiences with them, and it just became so natural and agile. a part of how I worked with energy and experienced energy. So we all have these agile parts to ourselves. Like, I talked about the names prior when I was younger, but we can call those into our lives. And I hope, again, that gives some feedback. You've heard me talking, I'm sure, about clairvoyance and my experiences, but miracles. If you are ever bored with life, if you want something more, if you're ever hitting a wall, start getting into the energy of miracles. All right, let's go into readings. All right, Jessica is first, and then Casey. Casey, Kelly was waiting for you for the last 2 hours. That's really nice. Thank you. I appreciate. Well, I mean, I don't want anyone waiting, but that's like very kind that you had enthusiasm for this. Thank you so much. So Jessica, and then Casey, and then away we'll go with whoever pops down their questions or their. Oh yeah, Mary. Okay, and then you're after that, and then so just let me know if you want a card or numerology, or I can do like a little bit of both, right? And it just you let me know. General reading or question. Okay, so Jessica, all right. Let's see. She's giving me. Okay, she's giving me 2 different birth dates. Okay, you give me an 1883. I don't. Is someone born? Oh, that could be like a. I don't think. Oh, because you mentioned your husband. Your husband wasn't born in 1883. I think I know what you mean though. That'd be fascinating, right? I'm in love with a ghost. Yeah, I think about the Ghost and Mrs. Mirror, that movie. What a great movie. All right, so this is great. So Jessica is asking about. I know. I had to have a little fun with that. It was too great. 1883. I was like, whoa, what is going on? I gotta scroll back up. Where is it? Okay. So this is great to do. So if you know someone's like birth date and they are close to you, you can gain, it's called like a relationship reading. And this is great in numerology. It really is. And it's like chart comparison, chart pairing. And when you do that, like whether it's with you could do it with a boss, you could do it with a friend, you could do it with a husband or wife, and it lets you know how you're similar or how you're different. And really, that's what life is. We find there's so many similarities and differences with the ones we love, some more than others. But when you look at people's charts, you actually understand how easy the relationship naturally is, or what highlights within the relationship can be done so it is more manageable. Okay, so we all have numbers that either complement each other or create challenge. Okay, so it's not positive, it's not negative, it's all neutral, and it's just like what you make life with it. But some are just in harmony and actually quite effortless, and some are a challenge. And so the challenge invites you to like learn and grow, but you have to have the more challenge numbers you have with an individual, the more you have to surrender your ego. And so you need actually very spiritually developed and very conscious people, the more challenge numbers there are, because then even though it's difficult, what happens is you surrender your ego and you work through it. And so that can be accomplished. So I like to talk about that anyway. So let's take some numbers with what you gave me here. Just doing all the math and checking it. Okay. Yep. All right. The placements. All right. That's great. That's good. Okay, cool. All right. So when I do relationship numerology, I have to do more considerations. So you see me kind of thinking for a second, and I look at the numbers in a different way. And so it's great, because when I look at your numbers with your husband, Jesse Cat, you have a lot of similar vibrations, and that's always wonderful to see. Now, yes, we would have to look at the full charts more to understand more information. I always say that with any of this stuff, but within your attitude numbers are in harmony. And that's great to see. So that means that you communicate actually quite well. And if there are difficulties, actually, you really naturally understand each other quite well. So the difficulties would have to be coming from some other places, because you have a harmonious number communication cluster. You just do. And so that's always wonderful. That's like one of the main things I looked at with couples. If they have that going for them, it's like it's a huge win. It's a huge win, because life will always be tremendously easier. It's almost like, yeah, that person has my back. They just understand me. So and your husband had a birthday just Wednesday. Yes, you're right. Actually, yeah, just 2 days ago. You're right. Sometimes when I'm looking at the numbers, I break them down, and right. I have to think about things, and happy birthday to him. Absolutely. Um, I'll look into that. So another thing that I like to say, so I like that you have twos and nines in common too as well, additionally. So you have numbers that mirror each other, and that also showcases when you have that in play, there is usually a very strong attraction initially, because you see yourself in the other. So this showcases, this very strong magnetic connection, and also this very natural way of communicating within the relationship. So your life paths, they are a little bit different, but they're still within they're still within more harmony. They really are. So his life path is a 5. And so this is important always to talk about. When someone has a life path 5, they need to have, again, you've heard me say this, multiple jobs within their life to feel fulfilled, or they have to keep moving within the company that they are and doing different roles. um, 5 gets very, very bored very easily. So there needs to be a lot of growth and stimulation. um, and it's important to have change for a 5, because that's how they feel like they are moving and experiencing life. Travel is very important for the 5. So support your husband if there is change. As long as he's happy with the change and he doesn't feel pressured or forced into the change, it's actually very, very good for his energy. It will open up a lot of happiness, and it will feel like, there will be a very much a change in his mood if you find him a little depressed, or the mundane starts seeping into life. So that's very, very good for his energy. Just reminder of that. You're the life path of 9. So like you're the humanitarianism, and you want to go and help others. And your husband's energy, I'd have to look at more numbers, but he supports that within you. He wants you to go your own way, and he actually gives you freedom to be yourself. But he wants to make sure that you have fun, and that the two of you are having fun. It's very important. So if life gets too crazy with your independence, or life gets too crazy with your projects, or even kids, there has to be you planning a trip. It could be something even locally, but there has to be some type of travel exploration with you two as a couple, because that 5 that he has, he wants the freedom to explore and be himself, but he needs to have the adventure with his wife. He needs that adventure and zest for life with his wife, that refuels, the connection to be very strong and solid. You guys already have really good numbers to have that anyway, but I'm just giving you some additionals. Okay. So I actually think you have quite honestly, you have actually great numbers compared to a lot of the number configurations I see. I want to just let you know about that. And happy birthday to your husband. So with your husband, um, let's see. I wanna what? So he's a 2. So he's in a year of 8 too. So with your husband too as well. I always let people know when I see them in 8s. Make sure they are just in line with their truth. So 8 is all about truth and justice and consequence. It's the number of power too. So a lot of great things can happen in an 8 year, and a lot of not so great things can happen in an 8 year. It's honestly a compass of what's going on inside of you, what needs to be fixed or what needs to be strengthened. And a lot of times, and 8 is a calling for the body to be stronger and to be repaired. And we're very much conditioned within our lives sometimes to ignore our aches and pains within our body, or ignore when our stress is too high. I get it. We have to function, like sometimes we feel like awful, but we have to get up and go to work. And that's understandable. But at the end of the day, or if we notice within that week, if it's getting a little bit more often, more headaches, more aches and pains, stuff like that, or additional considerations like digestion, if it keeps happening, we don't go, well, yeah, I've been feeling like crap lately, got to get up and go. We actually go, hey, my body is actually trying to communicate to me. And 8, or like I said, it's about truth and consequence and justice. So what happens within that 8 year, if we do not listen to the truth of things that are around us and inside of us, we start having consequences boil up. So the truth goes, I'm going to make sure that you listen to me. We're either going to do this because it's real, or we're going to do this because it's real, and we're going to make it really not fun, because we need you to have consequences in the lessons of you understanding what's true within yourself, about yourself. So to have some time where he really has some like ahas this year, and take himself very seriously and work towards the projects he wants to, the changes that he wants to, and then just be very delicate with understanding if things with health are coming up a little bit more often. Go to the doctor, have it checked out, take it more seriously. That's what I always say in a cycle 8. Okay, cool. Thank you. He says, thank you. He's next to me. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, and happy birthday. And absolutely, absolutely, yeah, take that all into consideration. It's great to read for you. All right. I love that. I'm like, oh, there's another person here. That always makes me like nervous when there's more people in on a reading. Like I've dealt with it before, but like anytime I have more than one person, I go, oh, all this energy is in the room, right? So like, even with like, more than one number chart, I go, ooh, like I start getting like stimulated more. But yeah, it's great. I like it. Let's see. Okay, so Casey. All right, let's do your numbers. Okay, I got 11, 25, 19, 89. All right. 7. Cool. And then we got that. Okay. Just getting your cycle number. Okay, just checking the math. Yep, that's right. All right. So Casey, wow. All right. You have and I don't, if I've talked about your numbers before, I I just say whatever's off the cuff. So if this is redundant, just know it is a compounding, understanding that needs to take place. Or if this is new, great. So you have double nines, and when anyone has double nines, the lesson is always boundaries within one's life, because 9 is the number of humanitarianism and selflessness. So there's like this extraordinary depth to help others. There's an extraordinary pull to do the right thing. And so that's great, because what happens is you find yourself in places you would have never planned, and you're just like, wow, I'm here, and life is never boring. It really isn't. But at the same time, when you find yourself in those places or with those people, there still needs to be the energy of boundaries, because that's what protects you after you've landed, when you've done some of your crash landings, right? So I offer you that perspective. You're in a cycle of 6. And when someone's in a cycle of 6, it is a very important year. Like for you with your double nines, this actually would be a very positive year, I would say, because the nines and the six really go towards healing things on an emotional and social level. And so nines and sixes, they're very social numbers. So they deal with like families and friends. And so when we're in a cycle six, we have the ability to really restructure how we deal with others in a way that respects ourselves and makes us feel good and honored. Okay. So it's sometimes not picking up the phone for a certain person as much, or telling them what we really think and what we really need, and having that change and development and evolution of the relationships around us. And these are close relationships, close relationships where people should really know us or know parts of us. And I understand that's not always easy, but sometimes we have to let somebody know about a part of us one step at a time. And it can really bring a lot of healing and take the weight off of our shoulders. So that comes into play. And what do I want to say too as well? I feel like I want to like draw a card for you now, and then I'll go back to numerology if so. But anytime I also see someone with double nines, there is like a more difficult childhood at play, because the nine just kind of knows, like, okay, I need to do this to survive. I better do this. I have to keep on going. And so the nine is a natural leader. They're not always looked at as leaders because they're in the trenches. They're in the trenches. They don't, wear the laurels, right? But the nine at a very young age knows how to survive and fend for themselves. And sometimes they can be isolated from that. And so the nines, being the natural leader all their life, it's the encouragement of stepping into roles where people honor you for your leadership. And that's part of the boundaries thing, that you're being paid for your leadership, because nine people are always doing extras because it's the right thing to do. And they find themselves in management roles without being paid management prices. So it doesn't have to be conventional management, but it's always about stepping up and saying, hey, no, I need this. I don't need that. I would love to help, but that's not going to work for me. Okay. This is going to work for me. All right. And more of that energy. I always talk about that. Okay. Let's pull a card for you, to Casey. Like an energy that I get for you, Casey, too, as well, is that I feel like, we've all been hurt in life. I've been hurt in life with like people around me and people not understanding, or friends not supporting, or, family sometimes not being as present as I would hope. And it's various people. I'm not singling anyone out. So shout out to anyone out there. I'm not singling anyone out. But I feel like that is an energy actually within you too, because as I connect with your energy, I feel you stepping back. And so that stepping back is about how, there's been a lot of misunderstanding and people quite haven't been there for you properly. And it's an invitation to really speak up. And this is very important. It's okay if, let's say, you don't know how to say it, but you have to keep saying it until someone goes, oh, okay. So if you have to say it 4 different ways and someone's annoyed by that, then they got to get over it, because they need to know what's going on with you. And speaking up and asserting yourself is going to actually invite the good ones to be around you, because the good ones will respond. The empathetic ones will respond, and they'll actually understand you far quicker than other people. But if your energy is not in the mix, sometimes they can't see you, right? Sometimes they don't know. Your energy has to be present and participant in the mix for some of these golden people to find you. But as soon as you put yourself out there, you'll understand, wow, that person understood me really easy. That person handled that situation with so much grace. Wow, they made me feel really loved and respected. They really made me feel like they listened. And those are the people that you start to gravitate to, but you have to enter the arena to find those people. And that's really important to talk about. Put yourself out there. And if you get a bad reaction, instead of going, well, this is, why I really don't put myself out there, go, great. Evidence, information, and check. That's a person that I don't really think is at my level of empathy. That's a person that I don't think is at my level with emotional understanding. Okay, so great. I just received my information. And then for the good things that happen, you actually will get, really nice surprises. So I want to give that to you. That's what I feel like is coming in really strongly. And let's do a card pull. Okay. So yeah, this is I got the card Trust in Yourself, and I also got the Wealth and Finance card. So that's always fun, right? Um, but it's talking about how actually a lot of times, because nines are very sensitive, intuitive, empathetic. We've talked about that. You actually know a lot of times where what you should be doing, okay, and what calls you should be making. You have very good natural gut response with that. And it's just like, again, kind of don't let the old narrative enter the equation of how you have to protect yourself. Just trust yourself. Like, if you know within your gut that something's wrong, you will know it loud and clear. But if you find yourself like going like, oh, but I should be counting for this and I should be counting for that, that's yourself trying to go, okay, is there something I missed? Like, it seems like this could be something to do, but is there something I missed? Let me make sure if there's something I missed. And we kind of like start, throwing rocks at trusting ourselves. We go, no, don't do that. I might have missed something, right? And so it's really talking about like that you're more powerful than you give yourself credit. If you look back at your life, you would actually start patting yourself on the back. So continue to do that more, please, because you go like, wow, I actually did some really cool stuff. Get into the energy of that to verify how much you can trust yourself. And I really feel like, again, standing up for yourself, asserting yourself is going to help even out some of the financial like ups and downs, because right now you not trusting yourself is affecting that. So really sit with yourself and understand that and make some leaps of faith. But those leaps of faith have to be dependent on your gut, not you over talking to yourself if this is the right decision. So I'm going to love and give you that. Okay, cool. All right. Let's see. So Mary is next. She wants a little bit of both. Okay, cool. Let's see. Casey, thank you for understanding, Casey. Absolutely. That's so I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad it resonates. That's all I can hope. Gosh, where Mary? Okay, so June 8th, 1990. Oh, what? You gave me two. You gave me two, Mary. You gave me a June, and you gave me a June 2nd, and you gave me a June 8th. So, oh, you gave me context. Got it. Okay. So one's your daughter, and one is you. So the June 8th. Okay. Got it. And so no worries. So did you want to understand kind of like a chart comparison within that and then like a card? Is that what you're looking for? I'm just making sure because I'll just go how I'll go, but maybe you wanted something specific within that, so I just check. Um and then Casey says, if I have a way of giving you details of how right you are, I will. I appreciate that, Casey. I appreciate that. Yeah, whatever resonates, and always happy to talk about it. Mine and my daughter, life path with those two numbers. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So let me just do the math on that. Okay, and so that's 8, 2. All right, and then your daughters. Okay, I'm just double checking the math. Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. That's right. And oh, there we go. I found a mistake. That's why I did it again. Yep. 4. No. That's right. Okay, cool. All right. So away we'll go then. That's a 4. Yep, that's right. Okay, I was right. So you have similar numbers. That's always nice to see. And so with your daughter's at the making a note. Okay. So the way that you communicate is a little bit different. Okay. So like Mary, you're one to like really see the details. You're one to really go above and beyond. Like you really can oversee things very well, and you're always like pushing yourself to do a great job. And with your daughter, she's more in the energy of like, she's not going to overthink it. You like to overthink it. It helps you to do a better job. With her, like, no, she needs to be more spontaneous, and it's just however it happens. And she doesn't prefer always to be a planner. Now she has double eights, and this actually helps mute some of this energy. Okay. Because eights are the planning energy, the overseeing, they're the perfectionists. And your daughter, at the end of the day, does have 2 eights, but she is more spontaneous with how she goes about her life, a little bit more spontaneous at times. The reason is because she has the attitude 5. When you have the attitude 5, you have like the thirst for adventure, you need the variety, but it's great because all those eights balance that. Like those eights are very predictable. Okay, eights are very like, this is the best way to do it, and 5 is the least predictable. Okay, so what this showcases to me is that she definitely will have a path where she wants to be the best at what she does, and have this, as she continues to develop herself, she's going to have this work ethic that is quite strong. When somebody has a lot of eights in their chart, again, I'd have to look at her other numbers, they're known for being a little bit of more of a late bloomer, because eights need all this time to really blossom into their excellence, because they account for so much more information than the average person. They're fantastic leaders when they step up within themselves, but it actually takes them longer because they're like taking the advanced course, but they're like, they actually are saying, no, this is the only course I want to take. So I will finish in 4 years when you finish in 1 year. I need to do this. So they're late bloomers, and they don't actually have to be conventional with the way that they want to excel. It's just there has to be a couple things within their life that they're passionate about, and then they're like obsessed with it. Okay, like it is their life, it is their passion. When someone has eights in their chart like this too as well, they can't tell anyone, no one can tell them what to do, especially with that 8 and that 5 combination. They are rebels. They are rebels, and they can sometimes withhold information to make sure they are not contested and they can do what they want in life. Okay. So the 5 and the 8 combination, they're like, I know what I want to do. No one can tell me otherwise. 5 and 8, those numbers have problems with authority. Again, I would have to see the other numbers within her chart, but just know that those are influences that will come up in the way that she expresses herself as a woman as she matures. And ultimately, at the end of the day, she has to be in some type of career where she is calling the shots, or that she is doing things where she has independence. When someone has a life path 8, they're called to usually have their own business on the side, or completely, or to be in a role where they have immense flexibility, or they are overseeing others, so they are calling the shots. The reason they have issues with authority is actually they need to be the authority. Okay, and they have the mind to be so giving that to you, with the way that you'll live your life, just totally different. You totally different ambitions with the way that you live your life. Your life path numbers are very different. The way that you communicate, you'll understand each other again, but you do things differently. And but it's kind of funny because you guys have similar energy on first impression. So you might receive compliments or vice versa, like, oh, you remind me of your mom, this category. You're similar to your daughter in that category. So that's where some of the energy that's similar can line up. Have to see that overall chart. That similarity you do have is you have that 8 energy, and that 8 energy is, being assertive, sometimes a little stubborn, like perfectionist, like liking things a certain way. Hey, I have a lot of 8 energy too. I try to be low key, but I have a lot of 8 energy, so I can relate. It's just about wanting to do a good job and making sure that you take your time, or making sure that you go about things in a unique way to get it done. 8 is about excellence, so I want to give that to you. Hopefully that gave you some perspective. I'm going to talk with you to Mary with what you have coming up. So your attitude is an 8. So you're in a cycle of 5. So there is a lot of change happening this year. Yes, everyone has had quite a quick running year. Most people I've talked to said, wow, this year has gone lightning uh, speed fast. Well, I just want to let you know that even more with that 5. When someone has a 5 too, it's almost like things keep coming up, and it's like you're juggling constantly. Like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Like, right? And it's exciting at times, but it's also a lot. And so whether it was last year or this year, there's some type of like major change in life, and that can be within career, that could be even within house. Okay, but there's some major change, and that usually comes up in a cycle 4 and a cycle 5. So you're in a cycle 5, so you're fully immersed in having the foundation be shook a little bit. So bringing up those concepts, hopefully you can relate to that. And going into next year, it's going to be much more easier. Like, next year for you is a much more smooth sailing year. Again, it's about family, it's about friends, and it's about embracing more like social opportunities to come your way. There's so much change this year that I feel like socially there hasn't been as much, and if it has been, it's been kind of crazy. So next year feels like a lot more fun. Next year feels like a lot more inward stuff regarding those that you love, rather than weird circumstances and environments kind of just jostling things at time. So that's what comes up. Mary, if that resonates with you, let me know. Let me see. Did you ask anything else? Okay, cool. All right. Let's see who is. All right. Wow, we are almost towards the end. I'm going to do one more card for Mary. Just one card, and we will go with that. Hello, Christine. If you want a quick card pull or your numbers read, just pop them down. Okay, Mary says that makes perfect sense. My daughter passed. Yes. That was on my mind. I didn't know if you had more than one daughter, so I read it for as how she would be evolving. But yeah, that 8 energy, the way that it comes up, sometimes it's like a little bit of a harder journey, and they go their own way. Truly. And there's a beautiful stubbornness in that. They had to go their own way. So I give love to you with your daughter. Christine. I appreciate it. So I'm going to pull one card for you, Mary, and then I'll go to you, Christine. Michelle, if I have a moment to pull a card for you too, we'll end on that. It's so funny, like people just come in and out. And it's interesting, sometimes, I'm going to give this to people, sometimes I actually will go back and scroll when I'm done, or I'll just like see it come up on my feed in like another way. And people will be asking me for things and it just doesn't come up on my feed. So if ask more than once. If I don't see you the first time, ask more than once, and hopefully I can see you on the feed. My sinuses are going crazy lately. So if you hear me like nasally, I'm like, oh, okay. So Mary, this is for you. Getting back into the energy. Okay. Okay. So Mary, I got the health card for you, and even the vocation card for you. They came together. So if like I picked one, but they came together, and then I actually had the family card flip open for you too. So if things just happen, you just honor it. So you got 3 cards with one pick. How cool is that? So the number 1 card that coming in is the health card, and it says your biology is your biography. And it's talking about like the need for like healing, understandably so. This really pertains to, as I look at the card, healing just the body. Yes, of course, healing the full spirit, the full soul, and the emotional and the mind aspects with how we go through grief, and how we go through coping with life and living life. Absolutely. um I really do see this a lot of this green energy, and I'm really taken to like this leaf, and it reminds me of like a stem growing. Like imagine like a branch, kind of gets snapped, and that could be a various metaphor, right? But if the tree is healthy, there's a new branch that grows. You see like this little green nub start extending and growing into a new branch with a new leaf, and it just keeps growing and growing. And it's just letting me know, as I feel this within you, is just to really take extra care of your physical self, because that will give you the resiliency to start having these new expansions of yourself, and the energy to have that. Really, like the tree needs energy to grow, a new limb per se, a new branch, right? To keep extending production for more and more leaves and growth. It really does. And so it's letting me know just to continue to like water, I don't know if it's drinking more water, but like water your garden, tend to yourself, and take care of yourself. Because honestly, I know when I'm taking care of myself, like with my food and my hydration and going for walks and other things that I have to do for myself, meditation, I'm able to hear spirit better. I'm able to feel more connected to my soul. I'm able to experience things that I'm only praying for, because our body is a tool. Our body is we're on earth right now. It's physical, right? Our body is physical too. And we experience actually spirit through the physical body that is our tool, right? When we leave our body, we become spirit, and we communicate spiritually very effortlessly, and things are very much different. But right now we're in our physical body. So actually, to hear spirit the most consistently and easiestly, we actually have to take care of our body. So with guidance, with you know going on with life and finding inspiration, and even hearing your daughter, that is what's coming in. That gorgeous symbol of healing and restoring the body. And I keep getting taken to like whether it's herbs or natural forms of like medicine. I don't know, but I keep taken to like that naturalistic kind of symbol of strengthening the body with herbs, strengthening the body with various resources. But it's really tied back to the body and the earth, and messages like that too as well. And it's letting me know, and I think I've talked to you about this before, it's taking me on that path once the body is more stabilized, and other things are a little bit more stabilized too. It takes me onto a path where you actually can walk forward in this very different and unique path where you're helping others and you're actually putting yourself out into the community, and you're going to be a light to others, and others are going to be a light for you. And it just shows me this tremendous extension of what life can be. It's just we have to get ourselves a little stronger, but it's there. And this is all connected to like your family watching over you, your family lifting you up and supporting you. And this family card comes from support in heaven, and this family card comes into support on, you know how we create our families as we go, we find them, the more we are ourselves. Like, I just feel like that coming into play with this new journey coming up. And it might be, 2 years from now, it's not around the corner, but with Energy of Miracles, like I said earlier in the show, things come at hyperspeed, but this is upcoming, but it's very much a possibility, reality. And I just see this tremendous opening up energy, just, strengthen the body, heal and strengthen the body. Okay. All right. Yeah. And I want to show you this card. And I just keep seeing it. It's like the career vocation card. And when I get career vocation, that's like, it can be hobby, it can be career, it could be volunteering, it's a way to give back, it's your own business. It can be a lot of different things, right? But when I'm looking at it for you, I keep like thinking, follow the yellow brick road, Like, it's not done. Like, it's not done, right? It's like Dorothy Crashlands, where, she almost gets taken out by a tornado. She's like, what is going on? Where am I? And like, she has this tremendous adventure ahead of her with something she couldn't even, it just seems surreal. It seems surreal, but she has to just follow that road. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Mary. Christine and Michelle. Okay. So Christine, I'm going to pull a card for you, and we'll pull a card from Michelle. Okay, so with Christine, I got the time game card. And so that's like feeling like things are not completely in our control. And it can be, again, this waiting game, or it can be like, what am I supposed to do, right? And it just feels like things are topsy-turvy. And I just feel like, again, I just, sometimes life happens where we just don't really feel like we're in control. That just keeps circling and spiraling within me. And it's interesting because I pulled this card, but then the card right after it, I was compelled to pull it. I'm just like, I have to pull it with it. Let's do it. And it was the Master of Your Own Fate card. And so this is a tremendously powerful card, and it invites you to know that you are able to influence and co-create and change what's going on. Yes, for a moment, not everything's in your control, but a moment after, it can be. If you're waiting on someone else, a moment after, ball's back in your court. And at every moment, you can actually change the way that you think and that you respond and you feel, whether it's internally and you're breathing and you're not allowing things to consume you, like in a way where you're like, I'm going to go out and treat myself. You know what? I'm going to go out and just break up this energy because I need it. This is just too much. And I'm going to master my own fate. Right now, I don't know about some other things I can't control, but I can control how I feel in my body, because I don't need the whole world caving down, right? And that's from an inspirational perspective. Please know that. And so it's about, like, sometimes it's step by step within that. Like, sometimes I go, I really want to change the way I'm feeling, because gosh, things are not going my way, so let's kind of get things back on track. And so every day I might do a little something, so it doesn't change like, oh, I gotta lift myself up. It doesn't change in one day. It changes in like a week, a month. But you start changing the initial way that you meet life. And I think that is the invitation of mastering your own faith. I don't think it's been easy. But I think when you have an opportunity to condition yourself to become stronger, the way that things are coming your way, you will actually not be dependent on them in the same way. You can just say, yeah, okay, like I got this covered. I'm going to be okay. Or like with people that you're waiting on too as well. You know what? I've gone through some things. I've actually figured out how to look at things differently. Um, I think I got this. So you can even going forward completely sever the way that you handled and put faith and trust into people going forward, because you take on that strength within yourself and you weather the storm completely differently. So I want to like pat you on the back for coming to this point, and I want to like just really empower you to master your own fate, because I really feel like you can turn the tides. And right now it's difficult, but to get into that motion and mindset, I really do think in the next couple months, if you embrace that and just be like, I'm sick of doing it this way. I'm sick of it. So the reason I'm talking about this, Christine, is like an element of this keeps happening with what people are doing to you or what circumstances are coming your way. So I like to call it like a combo breaker, right? It's just like, no. It's yes, it's been hard. It's been incredibly hard, but we're going to do this entirely differently going forward. And that is a very refreshing, I would feel enthusiastic and exciting outlook on how things don't have to feel the same way as this anymore, because it's just too much. It's just happening too much. All right, so let's awaken spring, let's awaken a fresh slate, and let's tackle this differently. Might still not be so great, might not still be so great, but it's going to be a whole of a heck lot better. And that energy is even going to break off, and things are really going to change. And that's how I feel. But you gotta go like, I'm taking this by the reins. I'm not going to let it happen the same way. All right. It stinks so bad because it's ready to change. And that's what I'm getting. Okay. So Michelle, I'm going to pull one card for you, and then okay. Linda says mine too. My head is like, are you talking about sinuses, Linda? I'm just making sure I got you on that. I'll pull a quick one for you, Linda, but then you got that. That's it. Okay. So Michelle, let's see. Michelle, this is for you. Oh, you can't make this stuff up, guys. I got the Master Your Own Fate card for Michelle as well. And this is about like when you look at this, play this back, Michelle, because I know you're at the store. It's all about making a plan. Okay, it's all about making a plan, because people talk about the lucky ones. Well, the lucky ones are the prepared ones, and sometimes like we can't be prepared for everything in life. My gosh. That's part of what life is, learning how to prepare ourselves more and more and more with what comes our way. But like for this specifically for you, Michelle, it's more in the area of you got a plan for that explosion of awesomeness, because for you there's something specifically in your mind that you've been wanting to like get off the ground, and you're like, okay, like I could do this, right? I would like it to go this way. And it's letting me know within this card, master your own faith. Make that 30-day plan, and you're doing something every day towards what you want to receive, what you want to have. And I feel like it's very obtainable, but it's like you got to get into that work of doing the work. Okay, so master your own fate, that comes in. And then I'm going to pick one for Linda. I got the physical energy card for you, Linda. So the physical energy card is all about balancing um, what's in our life so we're not so topsy-turvy. And when we're balanced, we can like focus more easily, and then we can be more perceptive. And so what happens when we balance our body, suddenly our mind is sharper, our memory is sharper, our emotions, they just feel more richer, right? Because we feel at ease. And so I just feel like there's just been so much like going on that you haven't been able to stop and smell the roses, right? Like you haven't been able to kind of, when life is just so like, it's just too much. You're just like, I'm exhausted. I just want to enjoy a nice cup of coffee for the love. I just want to lay in bed or read a book or something that invokes the senses. But if we're so all over the place, that's hard to do. So the card is calling you to slow it down a little bit and really have gratitude within the small stuff, and have gratitude and really feel within your body. And that might take doing things a little bit differently, but it's a heads up within that for balance. Okay. So within that, Christine, I hope that made sense to you in some way. And Linda, I hope that made sense to you in some way too. And thank you everyone for all the kindness and compliments. And I always have fun being with you. Yeah, I wanted to update you. So we didn't have Wednesday's show this week because of internet trouble. It just happens. So we're going to be getting Jo Marie back, and she'll be on later in the month. So we'll do like a double show one day. And she's wonderful. She's just like a ball of energy and joy, and she is so talented, y'all. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, her artwork is so detailed, and like she draws animals, she draws people, and they're like something out of like a museum. Some of these works of art, and they're usually bright. They're like bright and rainbow colored, and sometimes they have gold in them. But oh, they're so beautiful. So, and she usually sometimes shares some of her artwork too as well. If you go to her, I don't know if she has a channel yet, but if you go to her Facebook or website, she showcases her stuff regularly, and it's just gorgeous. And she like channels when she does the portraits for other people or for whatever she's working on and inspired. So she's just wonderful. I'm really excited to have her on. And upcoming, we have more guests, and we have more reading shows to do. So I'm ecstatic. I'm looking forward to it. My goodness, I'm like thinking about all the people that we have on. I'll continue to share going forward. So I'm going to stop and, smell the roses per se for a second. Gonna finish my peppermint tea, going to go for a walk in the rainy weather, and I'm gonna feel and slow things down and take a moment. But thank you for being with me, and I wish you love, luck, light, and please don't forget to live. See you soon.